Well, hello. You caught us in the middle of a dance break.
I was just gonna say, every time we're always bugging down.
We do boogie down. And you guys might see another face. You're like, who is this person in yellow? That is dear friend of mine and to the show, the one, the only, Kara Hinton.
Good evening.
Good evening and good night. And for those of you who have never joined us before, my name is Heather. I am drinking caffeine with sugar, chocolate, Coke. Hello. And to my left, your right, possibly one of those, is the one and only Amber with a cute little purpley pink hair today. I love it.
I know, I touched it up.
You did touch it up. You're definitely the Cheshire Cat. This is why we get along. And we are the Broadway Fan Club. So tonight we have a very full plate, a very, very full plate, because we usually do Mondays. And I was flying back. Kara was driving back from BroadwayCon. Amber was like, can you make it? And I'm like, I doubt it. So we were going to do Tuesday. And then all hell broke loose Tuesday. And then we're like, well, what about this date? And then everything just kept collapsing to the point where yesterday we're like, we're all going to do this. And then Amber got delayed on the train leaving Gatsby. Kara's power was out. My power was out. Oh, and I found out that my utility company somehow took thousands of dollars out of my bank account. Yay. So it's been super fun. But we are here now for Friday Night Live, our very first Friday Night Live. We can't wait to get started. And don't forget, this upcoming Monday is going to be our very next episode. So you guys kind of get us 2 times in the course of a couple of days, and you're going to love seeing it. But we do want to always encourage you guys to answer any of our questions in our comment section, or just kind of feel like you're hanging out. Talking about hanging out, I'm going to have the one and only Kara Hinton do a little bit of introduction to you guys and tell everybody who she is and why she's here, and it might have to do something with me.
It is all your fault. So they can
my fault.
Hate you or like you because they've got me. So Heather and I met back on the Broadway cruise. There was this crazy female that was dressed in all this cosplay, and we were dressed in all this cosplay, and it just kind of
went
together. So this crazy friendship bloomed from that.
And we actually met, I think, the last day or the next to last day at the Stage Door Experience, because you brought these cute little duckies that had your masks on them. And I was like, I need one. You're like, come meet us. So I did.
Yeah. So
and Heather, don't we have a link for the Broadway cruise?
We do have a link for the Broadway cruise. This is what I say. When I always tell people that Amber keeps me like on check, for those of you that are looking to join the Broadway cruise and also make friends and see me and Kara and the rest of the Hintons in cosplay next year, you can go to BroadwayCruise.com, enter promo code and referral code 2BFC. We'll go after the end of the show.
Yeah. So we met on the Broadway cruise. We had a blast. We did lots of things. And so then come to find out, we were talking about BroadwayCon and how we were applying to be vendors. And Heather was like, what? And so I was like, yeah, we're going to go share our hydration products. And she was like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to BroadwayCon. And so we met at BroadwayCon again. So 4 intense, was it 4 days? I don't know. I'm on post Broadway, like no sleep, like here. We loaded out of one show and went right into the next one.
You did. And did you get your nails done again? Because you did. You took off the green.
Stephanie Green.
Nail show. Yeah. So you guys because you guys stayed at the casino in Pennsylvania for 2 nights, and then you went up the day before into New York, into Hilton Midtown to load in.
We did.
Which was crazy. And then I came in Thursday. I did Broadway in the Park while you guys were loading up for the show, like actually setting up for the show. Sorry. And then I kind of forced you to go to Hadestown that night, Thursday night.
Well, we were going to go anyway, and then we didn't know at night. And then when you said you bought a ticket.
I bought a ticket. So I bought like a really decently priced box seat. And because they were going, so the Hintons, for those of you that have been watching the videos and the photos that I've been posting, or if you've seen any of the commercials from the Broadway cruise, you'll clearly see Kara and Tim and Austin, especially with his umbrella. They dressed as Persephone, Hades, and Hermes. And they're amazing. They're all over that damn promo video. But They also were entering the costume contest or the cosplay contest at BroadwayCon. And you guys have become friends with somebody in the cast.
We did. So on the cruise, which you never know who you're going to meet, when you're going to meet it, or how things are going to happen. On the cruise, somebody stopped and took our picture and said, "But we sent it to Philip," and we're like, "Sure, no problem." And, we just kept thinking, like, who's Philip? Am I supposed to know this person? Philip Boykin, who plays the Hades on Broadway.
And that's amazing.
No, it just kind of blossomed, and we stayed connected with him. And then, of course, he said, "If you make it to BroadwayCon, please come see me." So thus, Heather, Thursday night, we went with you. And
I was the official, unofficial photographer.
She was, and she did fabulous. So I had
thank you. And also, where my seat was in the box, I could literally stare down into Kara's cleavage. It was the best. But like, I could have a I was like, Kara. So it was great. I told you I'm drinking caffeine, and I put chocolate in my cola. So
that's totally opposite. Water, I tell you to drink.
Yes. Okay. So, and I will tell you guys, and Amber and I have been talking about this all through BroadwayCon. So the Hintons do this Hydrate with the Hintons. And you guys will hear a lot more about it later in the show. And then we're also going to be working on a really cool collaboration with them. But at BroadwayCon, you guys set up the Sleep, Drink, Hydrate, Broadway, Repeat. One of those things that's not in front of me right now.
Eat, Sleep, Hydrate, Broadway, Repeat.
There you go. 36-ounce bottles?
32-ounce bottles.
Okay, see, I'm just gonna let you talk. But they have like these great mix-ins that are all for good stuff. So totally unrelated, but also kind of, I owe my sanity to both of these lovely women on the show right now, especially this last week. Totally break from the fun conversation. So if you guys notice, I'm not at my house. I'm at my mom's house. Stepdad's still in the hospital. This past Friday night, so the first night of BroadwayCon, the doctors had told my mom in Florida while I was in New York that my stepdad had like 2 days until he was no longer of this earth, which is terrifying because I'm not here, and it's very struggling. So there's a lot of stress and a lot of emotion, and Kara is very much like Amber and myself, where she picks up on a lot of like I could be like, I'm great. And Kara's like, oh my God, what's going on? Are you okay? Like she has like that motherly touch, but like really knows the insides and outs of how someone's feeling. And you were like, was it Soul that you gave me?
Yep.
So
lots of Soul to calm you down.
Soul was this, you're like, are you an emotional person? I'm like, do you see this face? So Soul, and again, Kara can talk about it. And this is just me talking about what saved me for this weekend. It was like being on drugs without being on drugs. It really made me feel more calm, a little bit more focused. It was tasty. And I kind of alternate between Soul and Fuel.
You did, because we noticed that once we got you super calmed down, and then you became super sleepy and a bump on a log like Tim does. And so
imagine
we have to have the opposite Heather. We have to give her all the energy and all the electrolytes to boost her back up. So we had to switch plans midstream. It was okay.
Imagine me being quieter than Amber's cats are.
Very chill. It was definitely a be more chill, Heather.
It was a be more chill, Heather. But yeah, so our friendship really stemmed from the cruise, and now we keep saying we're stuck with each other in the best way possible. And then Kara had the opportunity Sunday, and we'll talk more about BroadwayCon, but to speak effectively about like what the hydration company does. They had multiple like Broadway stars coming through, and then our dear friend Larry came to hang out with me on Sunday, and we'll get more into that about Bonnie and Clyde and all the fun stuff that we did. And he was like, oh, let me check this stuff out. Oh, we could probably use this backstage. And so Kara is starting to be able to send samples out to different productions to see if it would help benefit them. So if you guys have a show, whether it's local, whatever, please reach out to us. We'll get you in touch with Kara, and she will get you guys kind of like a consultation of like, will this work for you? Will this not? And how they can do it. So that is the introduction to those crazy Hintons.
That's what they call us.
That's what.
And the costume contest is running now. So go to the BroadwayCon website and vote for the Hintons.
That's a separate one altogether. That's the virtual one. It's a speakeasy. Yeah. So the Hintons on Sunday actually took second place in the main cosplay contest. And yeah, and as Amber was saying, the BroadwayCon website and the speakeasy, it's really weirdly spelled. You can find it on the Broadway Fan Club. Go and vote. It's a virtual vote, just like the photo. And then we have no idea what the prize is, but we just want our friends to win.
And we have till midnight tonight. So only
so less than 4 hours.
Yeah, we're in the lead. So
do your job and vote. Okay. But yeah, so do we want to get started in talking about Broadway in the Park? Amber is always driving this bus. I'm just here to talk your faces off, and Kara's here to kind of be in between.
Yeah, so we had our final week of Broadway in the Park yesterday, which was incredible. I actually am a little late to the party, and I have to still post the performances in our group. So thanks everyone for bearing with me while I dealt with a crazy day today. And
Amber and I, actually, the three of us have just had a very fucked up week. It's been crazy.
Yeah, it's like
but I will definitely get those ASAP.
What were you saying, Kara?
I was like, it's like we all got home and the universe just flipped on its side.
So not only that, but there's a freaking hurricane coming through this weekend.
Gotta love life.
Anybody want to make room on their couch? I told Kara, I was like, I'm going to come hang out with you guys in Kentucky. And they're like, there's no room because their son has a gaming room and their own room. And I'm like, well, I guess I'm going to move into the bed with Kara and Tim.
I think he just made an appearance in our comments.
Oh, speaking of the devil, Austin.
He's like, wait a minute, that's my mom. And what is she talking about me? I know that's what he said.
We're talking shit about you, buddy. We had a good weekend together. We'll talk more about it. But yes, Broadway in the Park. So when I came into town, I hauled ass to Bryant Park to go to Broadway in the Park. I am Austin. I'm going to call you out like that. I love you so much. But we, the masses, it was like 5 bajillion degrees outside. And I had thought it was going to be a little bit cooler because it was raining. So I put jeans on. Bad idea. Did not put sunscreen on. Also didn't bring a fan. All the above. It was so hot. My phone battery was like, you can't take any pictures because it's so hot out. But it had a ton of chairs and a lot of gnats, which were gross. People had fans or everyone just kind of hung out. Amber was my girl in the booth where she was just posting whatever videos I could take. And it was a hell of a lot of fun. And then, yeah, yesterday was the last one. Obviously was not there. But I definitely would do the experience again. It's a lot of fun. It's free. It's free Broadway in the Park. You don't have to do anything except go. And then they also have, like, directly behind the stage is where the tents are, where the talent is. And you have to walk past those tents to leave. So if you want to have, like, your own maybe kind of stage door experience or get the VIP, then you can meet those people who just performed. So it's pretty cool. And like Ricola was giving out bags of stuff because they were one of the sponsors. But yeah, it was a hell of a lot of fun. And I definitely think that people need to support more of the events that are happening in Bryant Park. That's the place to go. And it's not far from the theater district for sure.
Absolutely. They had great performances to close out the show. They had performances from & Juliet, A Wonderful World, which is the brand new musical that is coming to Broadway this fall.
Which we put the video out from the opening of BroadwayCon. Mm-hmm.
Yes. They had Six, The Outsiders, and the classic Wicked. And then the students from AMDA College of the Performing Arts did a pre-show performance of Mean Girls.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. It's really cool what they're doing to support the arts as far as the students are concerned, too, because they're also the sponsors. So they have all their students out there, like, front and center. It's great.
Absolutely.
And silence.
I was going to try so hard to make it before I got to Gatsby, but I had to bring my kitties to the vet in the morning, and that threw my whole day off.
Amber is fostering the Spice Kitties. They're all named after Spice Kitties.
At the end of the show, I will come and bring them out.
Oh, you mean we have our token kitty view? I could say something
We will
so
have
inappropriate now, but I will not.
a token kitty view, and I will bring them out for viewing.
Sounds like a plan. All right, what is our next topic on the roster here, Ms. Bus Driver? Beep, beep.
Our next topic is that Kids Night on Broadway was announced. Yeah, which will return this summer in New York City, Tuesday, August 20th. A selection of 19 Broadway shows available. So that's where kids under 18 can attend a show for free when accompanied by an adult who paid full price for a ticket.
Which is still incredible because there's so many people that have small children that it's kind of hard when you have a kid going to a show. I don't have kids. Kara does. I'm sure Kara, you do. Even taking Austin now in his 20s is probably difficult.
Lots of planning. Like it takes planning and it takes, things get pricey. And so to know that you can take a kid free, like you're exposing them to the arts, to a chance to
exactly
everything that they know. So kudos off to them. How cool is that?
Yeah, 19 shows. That's massive. So we'll definitely keep you guys posted. And if you are attending any of those shows, we'd love to see if they do any kind of surprise and delights as well.
Yeah, I will post a list of those shows in the Broadway Fan Club group as well if you are interested.
You're getting very good at Canva. I'm very impressed. Amber has hopped on because of just all the crazy shit that's going on. I'm like, Amber, can you do this, please? Amber, she's on top of it. So that's why you guys are seeing her post so much, is because she is just the absolute best. But she quickly learned Canva. And then even, a couple weeks ago, you literally had to you had to learn StreamYard on the fly.
StreamYard on the fly, yeah. I think one day I surprised you. I was like, oh, I'm just making a graphic. You were like, you're what?
You did. You're like, oh, and I did this. And I'm like, where'd that come from? You're like, I made it. And I was like, oh, my little protege. It's amazing. All right. Let's rock this house. Keep going. I like this. I like when you keep me on track.
Next up is BroadwayCon. Let's talk about it.
So much. And Kara, come off of mute. I hate when you're on mute.
I'm unmuted.
Nobody puts Kara in the corner.
Hey, lots of people do. It's okay.
Then you let them do that. Well, first off, I'm going to show off these, which are super fun.
Ribbons.
Yes.
We're actually way more red in person, but this was, so I was like, oh, let's do ribbons. And then they had a ribbon exchange, which didn't come to fruition. But by the time that we left, so I kept getting extras, and then Austin also kept getting extras, and Kara was like, you suck. You didn't tell me that this was a thing.
Yeah, we're supposed to be friends here. And I show up and she goes, oh, will you hand out these ribbons? And I go, oh, ribbons? Is this a thing? And I'm going, must have been nice to
she
share
called
that.
me some mean words, and beat me up. It's fine.
All the love right back.
But it really worked well because you had these really cool water bottles, and then we gave you some more stickers.
We did.
And you had ribbons, so when people stopped, they were talking because they go, "Ooh, ribbon! It says founding member." We're going to be doing a giveaway for these and our stickers as well, and they'll come with some of our Etsy products as well. But it was good because people would come. They're like, "Oh, you have ribbons? Here's ribbons." So
it actually worked as a perfect collaboration between you and I, because I got to tell them about the Broadway Fan Club and then give them the ribbon, and then it just led right into a conversation about hydration. So it worked perfect.
And then we all had our tails. Mine, I think, was wrapped up 4 times, and it was still this.
Yeah. I know you showed me a picture of yours. It was dragging on the floor.
It was dragging on the floor. Well, they're
I
cute.
think her and Austin were competing to see who could get more. I really do.
I kept giving Austin more because I was like, there's so many. But the one that I got that not a lot of people got was the know-it-all, because clearly. But I went to a panel, and the panel was the ultimate BroadwayCon debate. And it was cool. So cool. And Kara was laughing at me. So you go and you pretty much go to argue. And I was having a day. I was ready to bite someone's head off. Like usual. Just call me the praying mantis. But you don't know the topic. You don't know if you're pro and con. So it's like being in debate class. You're you have to argue a topic no matter what. So the topic that I was given as con is changing the lyrics of songs for whatever reason in shows. And so I had to argue against, no, it's the original source material and it's what the original writer wanted. And this is, the original content of it. The person I was competing against that was pro changing the lyrics was non-binary and young, 12-year-old, amazing Cal. I will never forget them. And was like, well, but you're talking about community and like we don't want to hurt our friends and family. And sometimes there are derogatory terms. So I was like, you win. Like, that's how I feel. But there's actually, we learned about this, there's actually a rule in place with one of the dramaturges where it's like, you cannot change lyrics. Like, you have to get special permission and give a reason as to why you change lyrics. But so that was just something fun, but they gave us the ribbon. It says no, but all. So I was like, that's mine. And that was the day that, go ahead, Kara. You're on mute.
I'll keep that, you said. You said, I'll keep that.
I'll keep that. Thank you. Thanks. But so BroadwayCon was interesting, and Kara can talk a lot about it too. I was expecting massive crowds of people and tons of cosplays and I host at MegaCon. I'm hosting at Tampa Bay Comic Con this upcoming month, where it's like tens of thousands of people. It's Broadway in the theater district. Where is everybody? It was very calm.
Very different year,
It was, so the vendor room had 25, 30 vendors.
Well, Tim and I were just talking about this the other day. We were trying to decide. I would say 25 to 35 was probably a good number, but definitely no more than 35 based on the way it's laid out.
Well, they had the New York Film Academy, which we'll be partnering with soon to help give away discounted scholarships. The Broadway Investors Club, a lot of our friends. We got to see our good friend Tim Dolan at Broadway Up Close. But it was just such a small room, and the location that they put the Hintons at was really cool. Kara had the best spot in the house, unbeknownst to her, because they actually moved her last minute. She was right next to Grace Ann. She had
Nicole Grace.
See, this is my brain. And then also Broadway Stacks, our friend Becky. But directly, when I'm saying directly across, 2 Heather arm lengths was a table or 2 tables, and that's where all the celebrity meet and greets were.
Yeah, we had perfect viewing all weekend long of all of them. And then what was even best is they would just mosey their way on over, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is exactly what I expected BroadwayCon to be, was the one-on-one interaction with.
Yeah. Well, and being part of the media was fun because I would hang out with Kara and the boys and look over, you have that video that I'll be posting with Thane. And I'm talking to him. I was talking about the Broadway Fan Club. We've got a lot of really exciting guests coming to the Broadway Fan Club podcast because of BroadwayCon. And we'll go more into that too. But I had the opportunity to talk to Freddie, who's the original Joanna from Rent, and Joanne from Rent, and then Thane and Jasperson, and I met 5 bajillion people. Everyone was great, but Thane took it upon himself to Hamilton and everything, singing and dancing and putting on a performance. And I turn around and Kara's like this. I was wondering who was going to get him to sing some Hamilton.
I did.
Of course, it's you.
Leave it to Heather.
I was like, but I didn't ask. I just hey, can I take a photo? And he's like, I'll do a video. He was so sweet. But it really made everybody at BroadwayCon, it made everybody accessible. Ben Cameron, dear friend, opened up with the preview Austin and I watched. And really was there was no difference between the people that are not on the stage and the people that are. And then it was fun too, because that was the Friday, I did my female MC outfit, which Amber became obsessed with.
I'm obsessed with it.
It was spot on. It was very good. That was
Thank you. I also walked 20 minutes in a very short and low cut outfit, and I'm surprised I did not get asked how much I charge. But there was a point where Ben was like, oh, everybody in cosplay stand, and the few of us that were in cosplay city, he's like, these are your leaders. But we got to share stories about touching point in Broadway, or like theater that like touched our lives. So I talked about what I've talked about before with Cheyenne Jackson, and really just felt like a calm. The schedules were kind of crazy. There was an app that helped the schedules. There was a little bit of a map, but like everything I want to do, and Austin, I'm sure if you're still watching, we'll touch on this as well, was like, we want to do this, but there's like 5 other panels at the same time that we also want to do. So you kind of pop in and out. But you didn't feel uncomfortable not doing that. At one point, I visited our Gatsby member Jocelyn had a panel, the women of Great Gatsby. So I popped in there. Yes, Austin was like, "Yep." Every time we're like, "Oh my god!" But I want to do the stage management thing. But I want to do the Disney thing. So it's kind of picking and choosing. But we were able to really enjoy ourselves, and you kind of saw the same faces every day, which was nice. Saturday, I cosplayed as the Broadway fan club because we have our awesome logo shirts coming to the merch store. But that was a day that we got to do a lot. And I think, Austin, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe that was also the Disney sing-along.
Day 2 was.
That was my favorite part of the entire show.
I missed it all, but I would get these videos while they were upstairs, and you could hear them really loud because they were right above us. And
oh, you could hear us?
Yeah, we could hear you guys. We always knew when something was going on in the grand ballroom because we could hear you. And I would get videos, so they like kept me informed. That was the only thing I missed was
Amber would get all of the videos, and she's like, "Oh my god, how many things?" I'm like, "They're going. They're still going." Well, so dear friend of the show and dear friend of mine, Jim Abbott, who look him up on Wikipedia. When I introduced Austin to him, Austin's like, "Who is that?" Jim is incredible and always so kind and does everything Disney on Broadway. If you've ever seen Disney on Broadway, whether at Epcot or somewhere else, if you see Jim Abbott, he's at the keys and conducting. He's amazing, as I clear my throat. But it was all of like my favorite Disney Broadway stars. Like Cara Lindsay was there. Patty Murin was there, who's the original Anna. Josh Strickland, who's Tarzan. Oh my god, I can't think of his name. He's now being put in as the alternate for Genie. I mean, it was a hell of a lot of fun to watch this show, and it was just Disney song after Disney song after Disney song after Disney song. And you could sing along or you couldn't sing along. I was still dealing with the laryngitis. I'm like, I'm going to be quiet. What are you doing, Amber? Looking at all these videos?
I'm looking to see, is it Jelani Remy?
No, Jelani was part of the Back to the Future.
You're right. I'm trying to think of who it was.
Yep.
Racking my brain.
There's a lot. But I was able to watch that was probably the busiest attended panel. And Austin and I were sitting there, and Austin's screaming at the top of his lungs, and in every video, which is fine. I love it. I love it so much. But everyone was just so enjoying it, and just that vibe and that feeling. I'm like, I'm amongst my people. And then after that, was able to go visit with Jim for a little bit, and that was really nice too. I felt like, and I think I said this to both of you guys, both Amber and to Kara, I was like, I feel like I'm with my people. Like, I don't feel like an outsider. I feel like I'm an insider. Like, I feel like I'm part of not looking in anymore.
Yeah, I think that's the way we all felt. Like nobody was singled out. Nobody was different. No. You felt included, and you felt like you were at home, and like you could do anything you wanted to do because you were accepted for who you wanted to be. The coolest part.
There was something for everybody, and every cosplay that we saw was just crazy and unique and fun. And there were the people that were really shopping heavy, and the people that were more about the cosplay. The winners of the cosplay contest that somehow beat out the Hintons. 3 years, is that what they're right? 5 years longer.
If you've not checked her out, I'll have to find her. But her seamstress work was spot on. 3 years building that Red Death costume.
She did full Red Death, and then she also did Star Princess Christine.
Yep. And all of her, so her corset top, she not only dyed the top, because I went back to look at her videos because needle pointing my purse for Persephone, like I enjoy sewing, that's my thing. And so I went back, she dyed the top of her corset from the bottom, which was pink, and then she hand beaded the entire thing.
That's amazing.
Served that place.
Crazy. And like you'd see them on her, there was like, there's no way they made that. No, they did. Like the mouth moved to the Red Death, and like it was the Like she's sourced for like over 2 years the fabric for Red Death, like hardcore. And this is the first time they were wearing it out. So cool. But it really felt like what Kara was saying, like nobody felt singled out. Everyone felt like we were one big family. And Kara, I hope it's okay to share this about Noel.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And you can touch on it a little bit too, and I'll try to not get emotional. So, gosh, now his last name is blanking on me because this is my brain.
Oh, when you put me on the spot, hold on.
Amber knows. Please continue. Stand by.
McNeil?
Is that right?
McNeil?
Anybody know who we're talking about? We're going to play a game. Who are we talking about?
Austin said Lowe's.
It is McNeil.
Okay.
Well, so Lowe's? No, Lowe's. No, it's McNeil. So he was puppeteer for Bear in the Big Blue House, a bunch of other stuff, and also the swing for Audrey 2 in off Skid Row in Little Shop currently.
Yeah.
And Kara, if you want to tell the beginning part of a story.
Sure. So the whole reason we do things holistically and naturally is because our son had grand mal seizures. Those seizures led to a ton of educational delays, and we became bullied really, really bad. And so our seizures happened at night. And one day we just fell in love with Bear in the Big Blue House. And so every night, and watch, Heather, I'm going to get emotional. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. Every night before we would go to bed, we would sing the good night song. And it was our way to tell each other that no matter what scary seizures or what awful things came our way, that the moon and stars and Bear were always going to be there to protect us and get us through until we were able to see the next episode the next morning. Well, when Austin had saw who the puppeteers were going to be, he was like, Mom, you have no idea who this is. Well, I just knew the character Bear.
Right.
I didn't realize the voice of who it was. And so Austin was dying to meet him. Come to find out, the puppetry class was a paid-for class.
Yeah, they had to register ahead of time, and it was like only 16 people, completely sold out.
Right. Thanks to Heather. We owe it all to her. She went up and introduced herself, and he was at another booth, and he took time not only to come over and meet Austin, but to personally pull the Bear puppet that he uses on cameos and his TikTok videos.
A much miniature version of Bear.
Yep. And pulled it out and put his arm around Austin and said, "Hello, old friend. You've grown up." And
don't get emotional. You're going to make me cry.
Something that we'll remember. But again, no matter how big Noel was, he's famous for what he does. That was the cool thing about BroadwayCon. These
I'm hiding behind my glasses. This is an emotional episode of
big actors
the Broadway
took
Club
their
podcast.
time to make little people who were just there to experience Broadway because they had
such thing as a little person. But yes.
Yep. They took time to come over, and it was fabulous. It's something we'll never forget.
And Noel actually reached out to us and said he can't wait to be a guest on the Broadway Fan Club podcast.
Yay.
But one of the most genuine people
it was
ever. Sorry to make you cry at work, Austin.
Is he crying too? My
he
kid
said,
is
"Damn, you making me cry at work." But that was, guys, this was like, and I can't speak more about it. And I know that some people are poo-pooing BroadwayCon because they wanted more of this. And I was so happy to be able to spend time with my extended family, like the Hintons, and we're the same people. We all fall into place in such a easy way. Me and Amber, me and Kara, Austin, Tim, like Melissa, who's on our show weeks ago, like we all just naturally fall into like, we're friends, like we're family. This is fine. There's no like shield or mask up. And that's kind of what the vibe of BroadwayCon was. The vendors were all really approachable. There was a lot of fun stuff. Even like the cast of 6 was walking around just buying stuff and stuffs too. Shannon Taub was out and walking, and like people were just like, "Oh, it's cool. It's Shannon Taub. It's fine."
Offer Hines like walked right up, purchased from us, and then turned around and friended us. And I was like, and I know people have been poo poo about that they expected more, but it was what you made it. And if you went
Yes.
with the mindset that it was small and intimate and you could get more of that one on one, you walked away with a great experience. So
Yeah. I
love it.
like the fact that the panels weren't overwhelming. Like obviously the Disney panel, there was a lot of people, and the Back to the Future 1 year later was ridiculous. Austin and I were laughing our asses off because it's Casey likes Roger Bart and Jelani Remy, like, and Julia, who's a stage manager. And you can just tell that. And seeing that panel Sunday inspired me to go see Back to the Future for the third time Sunday night. And it was just like, you know what? I want to see something fun and great. And, but Sunday was a bonkers, cuckoo bananas thing anyways. Because for those of you that don't know, I was invited to help host the screening of Bonnie and Clyde, which is available live to stream. You can go to the website and we'll pull that up in just a little bit. And to answer Melly's question, it is once a year, but next year's is going to be in February, so it's only 8 months away. And we'll get, I know, so technically more than that or less than that. But I was able to host a screening with the producer, David Treatman. And then after that, we did a talk back hosted by Julie Boardman, co-founder of Museum of Broadway and producer of limitless shows, and had a wonderful experience of just being able to sit and bring new people along for the ride of Bonnie and Clyde. The show was all over the place. It was in California. It was in Florida. It was, the West End. It came to the West End after the live concert screening Pro Shot was done. And it was here. It was only on Broadway 30 days. It's crazy. But the songs are still the most, what did David say? The most listened to cast recording? Something.
Mm-hmm.
It's still going. There's still iterations being created of it. And it was so beautiful to watch, sitting kind of off to the side. There was this older couple who was like all cuddled up, and like during like the love songs and like the sweet little parts, they were all like cuddled up and all cuddly. And I mean, like much older. And then listening to the crowd reactions of stuff, it was just such a wonderful experience. And it wasn't overwhelming where we didn't feel like we were able to like touch on things, or Kara, was saying, oh, she's getting emotional here. I cried on stage unintentionally, because for those of you that have watched the podcast before, you guys know like what's going on with my stepdad, and that I get kind of onto a soapbox about theater accessibility, especially because there's accessibility for people that need closed captions. That's really important. Or somebody that's on the spectrum that might need a little bit of a break, or, whatever ails you. You have a little bit more flexibility. And I've been able to take Pro Shots, whether it's on Broadway HD or watching Bonnie and Clyde, and take them on my laptop that I'm on right now and bring them to my stepfather's bedside in the hospital. And although he's nonverbal, I see I'm going to get emotional now. This is that emotional episode of the Broadway Fan Club podcast. But how he was there for the very first show I ever saw on Broadway, which was All Shook Up, because I wanted to see Phantom or Cats, and the man waited 2 hours online for TKTS for me to see Cheyenne Jackson singing Elvis songs, and I'm here for it. But at that point, I was a brat. But he always had that musical, like you could play West Side Story or Grease over and over again. He always supported that. And so now, even though he's nonverbal and he's not doing great, he still perks up a little bit when he hears musicals, or he can't really see well. But when he can kind of understand what's going on, it's still being able to bring him that experience. So I thank the team at Bonnie and Clyde for allowing me to participate in helping host a screening and doing the talk back, because David Treatman and myself got to sit and talk to Julie Boardman about the accessibility, about the really incredible fans. Jennifer Lynn was in the audience, who is our dear friend, which we're going to be doing a show together with JJ's Army, Jeremy Jordan's fan club. She saw the show 22 times. This show is such an important show, and it's really incredible to see what technology is allowing us to do. Which brought a conversation later that night with Larry Lelly about musical like streaming musicals and what that might do for the industry, because it's making it more accessible, and crowdfunding, bringing it to Broadway or the West End.
Right.
So yeah, I cried. And that was okay, because going back to that original, there weren't 500 people sitting in the audience. There were probably about 50. And it was still intimate enough where it was impactful, to be honest. Melly, he knows absolutely, as someone nurse who has had patients, who has had patients who have been non-communicative and nonverbal. This just makes my heart so happy. Well, thank you, Melly. He knows, and we know he knows. It's just a matter of, I encourage people that the right brain, they say that the music part of the brain is the last one to go. So that's why you'll see, and we've talked about it before, like the videos of a woman and her grandfather is completely, I don't want to say vegetable because it's disrespectful, but just not with us. And she starts singing Ave Maria, and he just stands up and starts singing Ave Maria like it was nothing. Incredible stuff. So it was, I would say BroadwayCon, as cheesy as it sounds, was a little bit life-changing, very much like the Broadway cruise. I think it re-solidified my love for the community. There was the hurrah of it, and I got to give the Hinton shit for spending way too much money on pizza.
And you did another amazing cosplay for the Bonnie and Clyde.
I did, thank you.
She did. She looked fabulous, even though she forgot her hairpins to keep her hat on.
So I didn't forget them. I just didn't think I needed them. So, and I'll post some photos later. I had the black beret, and
she cosplayed as Bonnie.
She looked fabulous.
Thanks.
But we just all pulled in and we helped save the day. And
yes, there was Nicole Grace. This is gonna
great.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, one of these things. But they came through and they had like these little clips. I was like, I'm just gonna shove it into my head, and it didn't move. But then it moved the minute I got to host like the mic at the screening. The shit fell right on the ground. I was like, welcome to me and my hat. And then I put it right back on, and it didn't budge the rest of the day until I took it out. That was great. But there's going to be way more to come with Bonnie and Clyde, and way more to come with our vendor friends that we met, our frienders. Had some really great conversations, enjoyed some panels, and got to really harass the Hintons in the best way possible.
Oh, we had a blast, and we are so honored to be here, and we're so excited to partner and collab with the Broadway Fan Club and be able to give some discounts and good stuff. So
we're gonna get you guys taking up. Yes. So Kara goes, I was like, well, I made these introductions for you. She's like, free sticks for life. It's like, oh, I'm holding you.
Like, I mean, you know, you go to BroadwayCon as a vendor, and I was kind of torn, like, how does hydration and go to Broadway to go together? And then it just kind of like into me, like, and past director, like I was like, we've got this. We totally do.
Yeah, you just need to be at every Comic-Con, because literally cosplayers' mottos are hydrate before you dihydrate, literally, because people forget at Comic-Cons, especially, I don't know why, and in New York, they don't hydrate. They don't drink enough water.
Right.
They don't sustain themselves. They
they're so busy. Like, one of the keys to drinking more water is to get a bottle, become emotionally attached to it. And if that bottle's not part of your cosplay, then it gets left behind. And so you just forget. And so it was not only an honor to be there as a vendor, but then for Heather and the Broadway Fan Club to allow us to make some of the connections that we made and to get our sticks backstage it was a dream come true. And it was just one when we left, and now it's turned into two, and we just literally know the sky's the limit for what's next. And yeah, Heather has sticks for life. So
okay, what is Austin saying? Austin's saying, see, I told you. What about Comic-Cons?
No, he's probably talking to me. See, I told you to go, that you'd be fine, Mom. I know that.
And she thinks I'm crazy.
We do.
Oh yeah, so talking about pizza, because we'll move on. We're going to be a little bit longer than an hour tonight because the caffeine's hitting me really well, and we have like 5 more topics to talk about. So Kara's like, yeah, we went to Joe's Pizza. I was like, and how much was that? Like $60 for a pizza, and
it was 38.
Okay, you got a stromboli and slices, whatever. And I'm like, for pizza in New York? What?
Right.
And she's like, that's not bad for the 3 of us. I said, Kara, go to the 99-cent pizza. Now it's $1.99. And she's like, what is that? And I'm like, it's everywhere you go. You can't miss it. And so I think because Friday night, so Thursday night after Hadestown, we went to Junior's. And I got my cookies and cream cheesecake, and we had some good food and laughed at each other. And then I had the rest of my sandwich the next day. Saturday, I was like, I'm starving. I haven't eaten anything. And I went to go get $1.99 pizza. And I got a chicken bacon ranch and cheese, and it's like this big in a box. And I come by and I'm holding it. And she's like, well, what's that? I was like, $1.99 pizza. And she's like, how much is that? How much is that? I was like, $5. What? Oh, hold on. My father says, hi, honey, love you. You girls are doing an outstanding job. Hi, Dad. Thank you. Yes, my father, let me tell you about this man. I'm going to interrupt my pizza story. So my dad just became a theater kid at the ripe old age of 70 last Saturday.
Never too old.
I got to take him to his first Broadway show last year. We did a father-daughter trip to New York. We did New York, Moulin Rouge, and Shucked. And
you would take your dad to see Moulin Rouge.
Yes, I would. Absolutely. Well, I wanted to give him kind of like, and we did Little Shop of Horrors too. I wanted to give him kind of the broad spectrum, jukebox musical that's kind of familiar, just kind of that level. Dad's always been like much more supportive of my theater stuff, which is weird because my mom always took me to the theater too. But Dad actually in high school, and correct me if I'm wrong, Pop, but he rode his motorcycle on the stage for part of a show. Man was crazy. Still is. But anyway, so he's part of his theater group in his community in Port St. Lucie. And a couple of months ago, they just did this like the dating game, but it was all murderers. So my dad was like a murderer. Oh yeah. But so now Dad he was at his choir yesterday because now, Annie, get your gun. Yeah. So
ask him if it was that. Nice.
Yes. So Dad rode his motorcycle on for Annie, get your gun. But yeah, so he has been a theater kid. And then, so it's nice to have that to be able to share with him. And he is very supportive of us. So it's very nice. And he also spent the better part of the last 2 days on the phone with me and the utility company and my bank, telling them to give me my thousands of dollars back. It's super fun. Super fun.
Yay, Dad.
Yay, Dad. Oh, hi, Todd. Todd's going to go see Illinois tomorrow matinee. Ooh, that's awesome. I have not seen it. I cannot wait to hear what you think about it, Todd. Make sure you let us know.
Jonathan Groff and Daniel Radcliffe just went and saw it.
Oh, yeah? That's convenient. Well, for those of you who don't know, Illinois is much more an interpretive dance than a musical. It is very much like love stories around the campfire with your friends. So I'd be very excited to hear what Todd thinks. Please make sure that you share it with us. So yes, they interrupted my pizza story to gloat about my father. But that kind of wraps up BroadwayCon. Like, it was such a wonderful experience. They're coming back, and as Austin said, it is coming back, where are we at? February 7th through the 9th. We are going to be partnering with BroadwayCon for promo codes like we did this past season. So make sure you stay tuned, and we'll find out what's going on with that. But I had a hell of a lot of fun, and I got to try out 2 new cosplays that worked really well. To the point where I now want to go to see the Kit Kat Club dressed as the MC. Oh, are we talking about bracelets now?
And I sent Heather with a bunch of our Broadway Fan Club bracelets to give out at the BroadwayCon bracelet trade event. So there is actually a BroadwayCon event or a BroadwayCon sale we're running. Yeah. So if you use the promo code BroadwayCon24 right now, you'll get 25% off your order. And that will be going for probably another week or so. So get
That's
those
very
orders
generous.
in.
I thought it was only during BroadwayCon, Amber.
Nope. We're letting people who were at BroadwayCon get home and settle, like how you guys,
Yeah, we're totally settled. I haven't unpacked yet.
Nope.
Exactly.
Case is in front of me, just still packed. It's okay.
But if you go to the BroadwayFanClub.etsy.com, you will be able to see all of these beautiful bracelets that we got lots of compliments on. They're $10 a piece, so 25% off right now?
$10 a piece, 25% off, but we did just upgrade the quality of the bracelets as well. We've gotten some better quality string, so they are made to last.
Well, the other ones were made to last. Now these are really made to last.
Right, exactly.
They're like Pokemon, constantly evolving.
Yes.
All right, what's next? What's next?
Next up are some recent shows that we've went to, Heather.
Oh, hold on. I'm going to answer Millie's question first before we get into the dirty shit. Mellie, any recommendation for second, third show? We're thinking Moulin Rouge, maybe Chicago, or Book of Mormon again. We have tickets for a 2 p.m. show September 14th in our New York City, September 14th through the 16th. Mellie, I will tell everybody they possibly can to go see Moulin Rouge. Even Ken Davenport came out with a report after the State of Broadway saying that people are more apt to going to musicals with music they know before musicals they don't know. So that's why like Lin-Manuel Miranda is shopping around cast recording for his new show beforehand. That sort of thing's kind of gaining its popularity. I'm looking at the dates just so I can be specific. The 14th through the 16th. Okay. Definitely Moulin Rouge.
She already has a ticket for Cabaret.
Yes, she does. Definitely Moulin Rouge. I'm going to say Water for Elephants. It's still such a wonderful show. Kara and the Hintons got to see it.
Oh my goodness, it was fabulous. The theater, the Imperial Theater, is beautiful, but to watch the artistic movements and creativity that has been put into that show, and it brings a total different aspect than what Broadway normally is. It's more of that, Heather and my husband were talking. There's 2 shows right now that are running pretty much from the same era of time.
Gatsby and Water for Elephants.
And they give you 2 totally different views. So to be able to see the view that Water for Elephants of that struggling circus that just needed to find a home, like it was, I was crying at one point and I was oohing at another point. And it was a fabulous show. Like I could not talk enough about Water for Elephants.
And you got the opportunity to see a lot of the understudies.
We did. So it was fabulous. So highly recommend. My recommendation for you would be Water for Elephants.
And Hadestown, definitely another show to go see. And depending on if you're able to or have any interest in doing something more immersive, go check out Life and Trust. That is a new show from Immersive, just like Sleep No More. It's over at Conwell Coffee. We have a group for it if you want to look for more information. But it's really cool. It's very immersive. It's a 2.5-hour experience, and it's based off the books by Faust. So we can get more into that as well. Going into shows that Heather saw this weekend, there's a reason I'm trying so hard to be positive. Some weird stuff. You're welcome, Mellie. Some weird stuff. Weird stuff went down this past weekend. One, I always make sure when I go to a show, especially for a show that we run the group for, because we're fans, but we have 410,000 followers and we just want to introduce ourselves to the house manager. So if we have somebody who's like, oh my God, I had this huge problem and what do I do? House manager XYZ is a person you want to talk to. Or, oh my God, I obviously not in panic, or like, I'm disabled, where's a wheelchair, or is there an accessible bathroom, or whatever, etc. So I had won lottery tickets for Friday night to go see The Notebook. And already emotional time. The story itself is representative, for those of you that know the story from the movie or the book, of dementia. Now, my stepfather's condition presents like dementia a little bit, but it's called corticobasal. So I was already like, I want to see the show because I've heard amazing things about it. I love the cast recording. But Amber and I very much were like, I don't want to see a show that's going to make me cry. They sell tissues as a souvenir, guys. You're going to cry. So I went in, and I'm going to keep this. I was telling Kara before. I always try to not talk shit. I went in, introduced myself to the house manager. and kind of went on my way and went to my seat, which was a little bit of a partial view. It was extreme house left, so extreme house right. A little bit of like one of these things. You guys know my soapbox of respect in the theater. To my right were two people hitting a vape pen. That every time Marianne Plunkett was having a breakdown for the first half of the show, they were laughing so hard their shoulders were jumping, and they weren't crying. They were like, this is lame, this is stupid. So disrespectful. The woman in the row ahead of me to the left was scrolling Facebook, not just texting, just scrolling and responding, scrolling. The two girls behind me were bragging about how they snuck a plastic flask in. It's kind of miserable. And, you know, I had already been told, because I do have a bad back, and I was like, I'm a little uncomfortable turning to the side, but I'm not going to complain. It's a lottery seat. I'm very happy to be here. But I was told 30 minutes after the show starts, you cannot return back to your seat. You have to stand the rest of the time because the show is so quiet. Oh, Melly, it gets way worse. Melly says, I would be fuming. So I go to this woman. Guys, you know I'm very respectful, but I'm also going to be that person like, hi, excuse me, can you please turn that down, or can you shut that off? It's a little bit distracting. So this woman scrolling for about 20 minutes, I just kind of leaned forward and I said it very quietly. You guys aren't even hear me right now. I said, can you please just shut that off? Thank you. And the look that she gave me was like I had 15,000 heads and they were all on fire. Not, oh God, I'm so sorry, but like, who are you? So I'm already uncomfortable. I've already tripped over the person's bag next to me because they were just got all their stuff laid out. And I get to get up during the intermission, one, because I'm very uncomfortable, and two, because I might leave at this point because this is not okay. I feel like I'm in juvenile detention amongst adults, okay? So trying to keep myself calm. So I go up, or I go to stand up. I've got my bag I had my cosplay in my duffel bag and my purse, and I grab it and I go to stand up, and the woman in front of me who was on her phone, and Kara's heard the story, turned around and kind of gets up so she's down in my face. I'm kind of trapped because if I get up, I'm going to hit her head with my head. Telling me, how dare you? You never know what anybody is going through. I'm a widow with 3 children and you and da-da-da. Like throwing every word at me. And I was like, you're right, ma'am. You don't know what people are going through. My phone is vibrating against my foot because my stepfather is laying dying in a hospital right now. I'd love nothing more than to be able to get that phone, but I'm respecting the show. There's no cell phones allowed. No, that's a suggestion. You just shouldn't be using that much. I'm texting my kids. I was like, ma'am, with no disrespect, please get out of my face. It got so significantly worse. She was, I'm going to try to avoid all the expletives for StreamYard's sake. She continued to yell. And she said, well, I hope you enjoy the second act, bitch, because I'm going to be on my phone the whole effing time. And I was like, with the actual word. And I was like, well, then I hope that you enjoy being kicked out by security. Like, that's not okay. And so I grab my stuff and I haul ass up to the first usher I see, which is actually like the like accessibility accommodations, like where they have the hearing things, the screens. And I'm like, I need security. I need the house manager. Please, please, please. I'm shaking. I have PTSD and anxiety. And like, I am shaking, guys, to the point where I'm going to pass out. House manager comes. I'm watching this woman for my own safety. This man continues to tell me that he was just yelled at by a woman because a woman stated she was yelled at during the show. And it was the same woman I was talking about. So every bit of information I provided to him was what he was parroting back to me. And I said, it's impossible because that woman's still sitting there. I almost blacked out, guys. I will say there was this really incredible usher named David, who, I believe that was his name, who actually walked me to the accessible bathroom so I could splash water on my face. And kind of keep myself calm for a second. I was told by management if I could not keep my composure that I would be getting a refund and leaving while I'm having a panic attack because this woman just verbally assaulted me. So I even tried to go get a refill of my soda at the bar because I paid $10 for a refill. And I was told I had to go downstairs for a refill. But the show was starting. And I couldn't even get water to take my medication. I have anxiety medication for my PTSD that kind of calms me down. Didn't work. But David was able to find me another seat. The women I sat with were in the row, were very sweet. We all kind of were openly sobbing. I didn't feel like somebody was going to start laughing at me or the show or smoking pot or God only knows whatever. Even to the point when I left, I thanked the house manager for the extra accommodations, and I kind of got an eye roll. Guys, this is an extenuating circumstance. I'm just going to say be cautious, and also know that if this happens to you, there are other options. This particular house manager, this is not their usual behavior from what I've been told, but I am going to be letting the Shoe Board organization know that this is what occurred to make sure that you guys are protected, that if something crazy happens to you, that this is already documented. But I wanted to put that story out there because it's not fun. Is every house manager like that? Absolutely not. Because the following night, I went over to Back to the Future at the Winter Garden, and I asked for an accessible line. That's something, again, that you guys can always ask for, whether it's for a physical limitation or a mental challenge. It was too much jostling around me because of the construction that's out there for the next 6 weeks. Security was not very kind. Finally got in, happened to be talking to head usher Corinne, who's always a sweetheart, who then got the house manager. And we were just talking, and she was like, oh my God, this is ridiculous, and thank you so much. She is a sweetheart. There are people that care. And again, it's no disrespect to the house manager over the notebook, but always be cautious, do your due diligence. And if you guys ever have a concern that you need to bring up and you don't know where to go to, don't hesitate to reach out to me or Amber. We're here to help and advocate. I'd rather it happen to me and know how to get through it than it happen to you guys and not. So another word of warning, and Kara was here for this one on Sunday too. I hate not having a show to go to, like something unplanned. And when I'm at BroadwayCon, I wasn't running the TKTS and trying to get stuff done. And Kara was like, oh God, do you remember what happened?
I do.
Now, after this Disney sing-along, I'm like, you know what? I feel like being in my happy place. I want to go see Aladdin. I haven't seen it in years. And I love that show. And so I'm walking back from getting pizza, again, because pizza. And I'm scrolling, and I couldn't find anything on the theater app. So I go into TickPick, which is another company that I like to use because they don't charge fees. And I'm like, oh my God, there's an $88 ticket for 8 p.m. tonight. Click buy as I'm walking in, and I'm walking over, and they have Kara and Tim and Austin have tickets for Water for Elephants. And I'm like, yeah, well, we'll meet over here because I'm going to be at the New Amsterdam. I was like, let me open my ticket. Why does it say 2:00? It's 3:30. Somehow the system booted it out of the 8 p.m. and had me purchase a matinee ticket almost by the time the matinee was over.
If you all have ever seen Heather go from 0 to 9,088 miles an hour in 2.2 seconds, I saw it. It happened. I don't blame her. I would have been too.
But it wasn't, I'm not rude and yelling and disrespectful. I was on the phone with TickPick and Ticketmaster because they're like, well, you should, if you purchase a ticket, we can't, unfortunately, you can resell it. And I'm like, the show's over. Well, we can't refund a ticket after the show started. How come you could sell a ticket an hour and a half into the show? They had to investigate it. They were just going to give me a credit because they don't offer refunds. And I'm like, you guys need to fix this because it said 8 p.m. show. And now it went to 2 p.m. and the show's almost over. So I will be happy to report that TickPick was like, oh, we're going to give you the $88 credit. And I'm like, hi, can you explain to me why it wasn't expunged from the system, which is what's supposed to happen? They could not, so they refunded me my money for my ticket. Do your due diligence. Stay vigilant. If something's not right, guys, continue on. Of all people, I would love to be like, I'm done. Screw it. It's $88. I'm out of $88. It has taken so much of my core within the last couple of days with my bank, with the utility company, with so much tiny little things that are just mounting up Stay vigilant. Stay on top of it. If you guys need help knowing which direction to go, reach out. But always, it's a tale of caution. Always double check, triple check, quadruple check. Because honestly, guys, I had no idea until Kara and I were talking about dinner plans before, after they saw Water for Elephants, and I was going to see Aladdin. And I was like, let me just double check where oh my God, I was so mad. Just stay on top of it. It's hard, but it's very important. And just save your energy for that.
Yeah. And back to what Heather said,
Absolutely.
don't feel sorry about asking for accessibility. I know we're very cautious with Austin and his seizures, and we try not to make a big deal about it. But going back to the Future and their house manager, Corinne, they went above and beyond and to make sure. So those people are there for you. So just reach out. They're fabulous if you need them.
Yeah, and it's you're not asking for anything they can't handle. And Amber is familiar with it too. You guys need, you want a lottery ticket, you need an accessible ticket. Cool, ask for it. If you get to the theater and something or someone is making you uncomfortable in your seat, ask to speak to the house manager. They have tickets, unless it's a sold out house. They have tickets to move you around. It might not be in the same section, but it might make you more comfortable. But don't put yourself through an uncomfortable situation without asking. And if you feel uncomfortable asking, just know that these people get comment or questions all the time like this. You're not being a pain in the butt. I still am like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And I get corrected all the time. This is what we're here for. Okay.
Absolutely. When I went to Cabaret a couple of weeks a month ago at this point.
Your TDF Cabaret ticket? Or no, it's your lottery ticket.
No, my lottery win.
Yeah.
At the end of the show, my friend's blood sugar dropped. And I don't think I mentioned this. And she started feeling like really faint. And they're trying to escort us. They're like, okay, everybody out of your seats. And I was like, no, like she needs water. Like,
now.
And the house manager brought her over a bottle of water.
Rosie
brought her over some crackers. No, it was actually a young man. I think his name was David, maybe.
Okay. Yep.
And he brought her over some crackers and just a water and let us like hang out for a few minutes while she kind of regained her composure. Asked if she needed, emergency services. First responders, and then let us take, because we were in the mezzanine 4, let us take the lift down just to make it a little easier on her. And they acted immediately because she wasn't feeling well.
It's better to have, it sounds terrible, it's better to have a need for emergency services or for somebody to give you a water or something than for you to leave the theater and black out on a sidewalk or in the subway.
Right.
If something's not feeling right, if you feel hot, if you feel woozy, if you feel uncomfortable, speak up. Speak up. All right, what's next now that we've had the serious conversation for the evening?
We're actually just about finished. Next up, we can talk about my trip into the city yesterday to see The Great Gatsby, since we haven't really touched on that yesterday.
Saw Gatsby as well.
Did you?
That was our
loved
third
it.
night, so we did.
It was Thursday night, right? Or no, that was Friday night.
Friday night, while you were at the Notebook.
Yeah. So my ticket was a TDF ticket, so it was like a surprise where I was going to sit, which I kind of love, like the whole excitement of getting into the theater and going to the box office.
Opposite. She's like, these are not Heather tickets. Anytime I'm like, she's like, no, that ticket's great, but it's not a Heather ticket.
Not a Heather ticket. But I ended up with a really good seat in the orchestra. I was like row T, the orchestra, and I had a great view of everything. I loved the show. They really, truly, when they say this show is bringing Big Broadway back, they mean it. That show brings out all of the bells and the whistles, from the costumes.
That stage design is nuts, right?
The stage design, the props, the cars.
You know how Kara was going to say, what were you saying, Kara?
I think it totally takes, like, we're so used to big elaborate sets, and it completely goes digital on
Yep.
so much. And it is aesthetically, to see it and to watch it, it was probably artistically, like, just it was fabulous to watch.
Insane.
Loved
The
it.
first show I ever saw that had that digital projection for the set design was Anastasia. And
Yep.
I was like, whoa, how did they do that? And now it's kind of like you either have it or you don't.
Yep.
And
Right.
Kara's also, Kara, you do directing for theater, and Austin does lighting and stage design. Like, you guys are definitely a theater family. It's just such a crazy show. Do you guys know how they do the cars, by the way, in Gatsby?
Oh, I don't.
Amber,
I do.
do you?
You must tell now that you know this.
Oh, now I must hear that because Amber said I do, and she did the eye raise, so I know she did. Go ahead.
Oh, you want me to share?
Sure, go ahead.
They are golf carts
I
that
was-
are actually driven.
And
There are no
magnetic pieces.
there are no tracks. So it's the same golf cart that's driven several times, and it's a shell, a magnetic shell on the outside that they remove and they replace for the yellow and then the blue car.
Isn't that cool?
That is so, like I said, Amber hit it on the head. It's one of those no stops. They leave nothing out. They've gone 100% on that show. It's fabulous.
That costuming, a lot of the studying was done from the Broadway Stoner as well. And like,
Yes.
I just want to look. So I hope that Julie gets a Gatsby display over at the Museum of Broadway, or at least part of it for the costume display and the exhibit, because I want to be up close.
Up
to some of
close.
it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. The Hintons were like, well, maybe we'll do that for our cosplay for the Broadway cruise. And I'm like, you don't know that it's Gatsby though. You can do like the military ball, but then people are going to think White Christmas, or they're going to think this. Like, there's
Right.
nothing. It's beautiful. There's nothing memorable to me as far as that costuming is concerned. Like, I can remember like Jordan's like golfing outfit, or tennis, like the golfing thing. That's cute. What did you think of the set? We're not giving anything away, but the set of the like cottage where Nick stays. That transformation.
That was my favorite part.
For those of you that seen it, or those of you who haven't seen it, where Nick stays, and if you know anything of the story, so there's Gatsby and there's Nick, Jay Gatsby and Nick. Nick is staying in like this guest house, but they transform this house, and then it all of a sudden has like all this greenery, and it's magic. It is literally Broadway magic, and
It really is.
Like
And
they bring the stage 3D off of from that digital production, and they
Yeah.
just on the
and
little
it
they
works.
bring out. Yeah.
And it works so well. And like I'm gonna give a good shout out to Catherine Quinn, who I saw this past weekend at BroadwayCon too. Gatsby's social media team is on it. They've got the Hot Honey dance tutorials,
The
and
New Money dance tutorial.
New Money, but they've got Hot Honey. Isn't Hot Honey too?
I don't know.
There's New Money, Hot Honey. Okay. There's 500 different things. They're doing all of these trends, but they're also showing stuff. And like Jennifer Lynn had posted, like Jeremy Jordan is doing like one of the dances backstage, and like they're on top of it. This is the kind of stuff that we love to see, and we want to be able to share with our members. So
Their
keep up the
memes
great job
are
On it.
top notch memes.
on it. So yeah, so you got to see it, and then you tried to stage door, but what happened?
I did try to stage door, but it was a matinee, and I was completely shocked at how insane the crowd was still on a
But
matinee.
you both can both can attest to this. That stage door is super well organized.
It
It-
is.
So organized.
Yeah. It is. Stage doors. This is the way we look at it.
So
It
we
is
have to
not-
talk about Hadestown too, by the way, Graf.
soapbox for a second, Heather. Stage doors are not a requirement. These actors are real humans with bad days, physically, mentally, emotionally. They're doing this 8 times a week, trying to stay healthy. These are not a requirement. And so to see the way that each and every person comes and gives of themselves at a stage door is truly an honor. The Great Gatsby stage door was probably Austin's favorite, only because he's a huge Jeremy Jordan fan, and Eva, and we missed her on Broadway Cruise 2,
Yep.
but we see her on Broadway Cruise 3.
Yep.
They all came out and gave of their time. Yes, some of them come down the line and they'll tell you, I can't stop for autographs, but I'm here to sign. That is them wanting to be and to realize that
they're not getting paid for it. It's like flight attendants who don't get paid until the doors are closed.
Yeah. But
so all the time you guys,
the security walking with them hand in hand was phenomenal. Kudos to that theater and the way they ran it. I agree with you, Amber.
I'm going to keep Kara on her soapbox. I'm going to bring it up Thursday night.
We're going to that.
So we went to Hadestown, and Kara and Tim and Austin are in their incredible cosplay. And we had a really lovely chat with Philip. And he was just such a sweetest man and like had such a good time. I almost had a good video, and then Kara's giant green poofy sleeve got right in the way of it. So kudos to you, babe. But we still went outside for the stage door because we still wanted to experience a stage door. We still wanted to see who was coming out. You know, Jordan Fisher, as Amber and I know, at Fleet Street, he hardly ever stage doors. But we still wanted to go out, and Yala, who's now the Eurydice, who's like 5-time Emmy, like she's amazing. But we go out, and Austin and I are trying to like get in because it's packed. And Tim and Kara are kind of hanging back more towards the street side. And we all are sitting around. And this woman walks over to us, like she knows us, but she doesn't. She goes, and Kara, correct me if I'm wrong. She goes, I'm going to put a bad review about the show online.
It obviously, Tim and I were in cosplay, and I guess she assumed it had something to do with the show, which we didn't. We had nothing. And so Heather and I just looked at her and we're like,
why?
Like, the show was fabulous. Like, leaving a bad.
She was like, well, she goes, well, because they didn't stage door and nobody came out, and we've been standing here and nobody's been coming out to sign. And Kara's like, yeah, but like they don't even do that at Lion. Well, but we got Lion King. Amber knows, and Kara was learning. It took every ounce of my energy to not be like, and I'm not everyone to yell at anybody or curse at anybody, but it took everything for me to not like know it all, put her in her place. And I just was kindly like, okay. So, and just what Kara said, emulating what Kara said, stage door is not a requirement. They're not getting paid for that. They are putting themselves out there to show appreciation to the fans. It's never a guarantee. Guys, we preach this every day in all of our groups. It is never a guarantee if somebody's coming out. If your favorite star is not coming out, for example, Cabaret, Eddie Redmayne will come out. Cool. Gail will come out, or the understudies will come out. Steven Skybell, sometimes. BB Newworth hauls her ass right into her car with a mask on, and I don't blame her. So I turned to this woman and I said, you also have to understand, ma'am, that there is not only a very bad stomach bug going around, but COVID is going around as well. Kara, do you remember her response?
I'm from California. We don't care about it.
No, she said we have that there too. We don't care about it.
Like, oh.
And I was like, are you performing 8 shows a week? Like, and that was the time where like this woman clearly she was not getting the reaction out of us that she was expecting, and she walked away. And Kara and I and Austin and Tim all looked at each other. We're like, what the fuck just are you kidding me? The show was incredible. It was beautiful. You just had a great experience. But now, because you can't get somebody's autograph at the stage door, you're going to write a bad review about the show. Don't do that. And I'm going to put every single one of our members on check. If you guys put a bad show report out because you didn't get the stage door, see yourself out the door. Because I just got really dizzy because all of my brain cells went. There is absolutely no reason to complain about what's going to happen at the stage door. It's not guaranteed. I went out. So when the Hintons went Sunday, when they went to Water for Elephants, I was going to Back to the Future. So Austin's like, hey, do you mind taking my window card to see if you can get JJ to sign it? JJ Neiman. And I was like, I don't know if he's coming. Like, he's ensemble because he's not on for Casey. And he's like, okay, that's cool. So I had the window card. I got out to stage door. I was happy. And Casey Likes comes out and makes this like little speech, and he was like, "Hey guys, it was a lot of people. Hey guys, we just want to let you know, I'm so sorry, I'm not going to be able to come out and do autographs or photos tonight. We do have other things going on, but I just want to let you guys know how much we love and appreciate you for being there. Thank you so much. We hope you enjoyed the show." And I was like, that is a class act, whether it was him doing that or somebody from stage management going, go and talk to people. That was cool, but there were still casts that was coming out. And JJ came out, and JJ might be on our show, but like was super happy that we were there. And, that was an experience I was happy to do for Austin to get him that signature. But I was talking, and this couple behind me were like, we need to know you. You know everything. And I'm like, it's a matter of, I'm not here to like oogle and like fandom, like fanboy, fangirl over people. I'm here to show respect at the stage door and say, thank you so much for doing such an incredible job in portraying this character. Like The Notebook, I stage doored, I have a fully signed playbill from the Tonys. I stopped Marianne Plunkett and I said, it must be incredibly hard to do this every night. And she said, it's actually an adventure of joy, because at the end, they're finding each other, and it's love and it's joy and it's happiness. Having that experience is better than having an autograph or a picture. Guys, if someone says, sorry, I'm not doing pictures tonight, or sorry, I can't sign tonight, okay, thank you for being here. Plain and simple. It's not a guarantee. Just these, like the couple that was like, oh yeah, and Roger Bart, is he coming out? For those of you that don't understand or don't know, Roger Bart does not stage door anymore.
Nope.
He was stalked through the subway almost to his home from fans. We don't do that. That is a no-no.
That is no Broadway etiquette.
No Broadway etiquette. We're going to have a whole other show on Broadway etiquette all over again. So be cautious when you guys are in the city. When you're in the theater district, just show respect. You're there to enjoy a show. You can't, you're not seeing a movie and then expecting like Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman to come out and sign autographs after you just watched Deadpool. It'd be cool.
Right, I was going to say, it's like, think about if you just spent your full 8-hour shift at work, and then you walk out the door, and then someone is in the parking lot expecting you to do more of your job for free.
Right. That's a great way of putting it. And then somebody calling your boss and being like, they did a terrible job at their job.
Right.
Because they didn't take more time after their job when they're walking to their car.
Right. It is, they completely do it off their own free will, and they completely do it out of the goodness of their hearts.
Yeah, you're right. So with that being said, just show some respect, people. That's all we're doing. We're not trying to lecture anybody, and we're so glad that everyone's been able to join us. It's just a matter of, it's disheartening because we know that it's not our members. We just kind of need to help educate the rest of the community as well, however we can.
Right.
Is there anything else left on our agenda tonight, Amber?
The last thing to talk about is just to get more info about Hydrate with the Hintons.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Kara, this is your spotlight moment, Miss Hinton.
Well, that I can take care of. So again, we are holistic coaches that just have a huge passion for teaching people how to read a nutritional label and what's inside some of the packets that you add to your water. Whether you use ours or not, we'll be happy to break down a label for you to teach you what's inside of it. But we do have some healthy alternatives. You can view all of our options on our website, which Heather will throw up for you now. It's www.hydratewiththehintons.com. There's a link on there where we can share a stick of your choice with you. And there's stories. Our son's story called A Mother's Tears is out there. My story's out there. There's some other personal testimonies. But again, if you need a way to stay hydrated while you're on Broadway or while you're doing other things, us Crazy Hintons would love to help you. And again, be on the lookout, Broadway fan club members, for that collaboration coming together in order to get you some discounts. So
that's exactly right.
Love you guys, and we'll see you on Broadway soon.
Right? And Kara has her
Hopefully,
very
we'll see you at the Broadway cruise.
Oh,
Oh yeah. So well, Kara has this really cool cup that I told her I need. So it keeps your drink cold for 24 hours and it has a Bluetooth speaker on the bottom. You have it in front of you, don't you?
I don't. It's actually in the
Oh,
kitchen.
and it lights up.
I know it does. It because I'm all about lights and drawing attention and being a theater director. Like I'm very OCD about things, and so everything matches. And so my cup has the matching to my drink lights on it. And Heather fell in love with it. So I don't know. Maybe she'll end up with one of these days.
Mm. Ooh.
Might be a gift on cruise 3. Who knows?
I mean, I'll take it. We're gonna do another fish extenders, which is like a secret Santa thing. So I don't know. You guys didn't do it last year, did you?
That was the
Oh,
only thing
you did.
we did not. Nope, that was
No,
the
you
only
did not. Because I was organizing it all by my lonesome, but it was so much fun. So much fun. And I'll put that Broadway cruise promo up again. Broadway cruise is happening March 31st to April 4th. No. Yes. Is that right? Dates in my head. You can find out more information on the BroadwayCruise.com.
the 1st of April, but yeah, don't quote me. Just go to the website. It's easier.
Go to the website. It is March 31st through April 4th. Look at me knowing the things and stuff. It is on the Norwegian Gem out of Miami. You can go to the BroadwayCruise.com, enter promo code 2, B like boy, F like Frank, C like Charlie, and refer code. You also get $100 off your cruise. This year is going to be insane. They have Alex Brightman, the one and only Beetlejuice. Woohoo! Shoshana Bean, oh my God, Casey Levy, Corey Cott and Corey Cott's Arms. Yes.
Yeah.
Wayne Brady. Who else am I forgetting?
Eva.
Eva Noblezada. That's
Eva
right.
Noblezada.
This past year, and Reef came instead. Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm missing one more person. Not Laura Benanti. Maybe. Brain is squishy.
Post
But, huh?
That's it's all post BroadwayCon. Like it's mush right now.
It is post BroadwayCon mush. Con funk is what we affectionately call it.
Yeah.
But check out the Broadway cruise. There's 2 days at sea, so it's a lot of all intensive Broadway. There's panels. It's literally a Comic-Con for Broadway at sea. And you get to hang out with me and the crazy Hittens, and maybe Amber will tow along if not. And then if there's nothing else that we want to discuss, I'm going to send you guys or show you guys our website if my computer wants to work. If you go to www.thebroadwayfanclub.com, you can find out any information about any of the stuff that we've talked about today, including our brand new merch will be loaded up in our merch shop. Right now, you can go to our Etsy, which is at BroadwayFanClub.etsy.com for some awesome bracelets. Those bracelets help to go fund the Broadway Fan Club and support purchases of prizes for giveaways. Check those bracelets out. I love it.
I believe we got really stocked up on prizes at BroadwayCon too, right?
We got some really cool prizes, and we'll talk about those on Monday. But we've got some great stuff. We want to keep it going. So make sure you support us at thebroadwayfanclub.com. We'll also update some information about the Hydrate with the Hintons if you want to go visit with them. And you can check out all over 50 groups that we run on social media for your favorite shows. If there's a show that you want to have a group for and you don't see, let us know because we will make one. But we've got a lot. So if we're missing something, let us know.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Looks like we have a question for Kara in the comments.
I did. I saw that. And yes, we do. If you will shoot me a personal message or text me, Heather can give you all my contact information. I will be happy to send you some sample of our low sodium options. We have one that has 0 and we don't have all those high sodium that some of those other ones do. So we've got
you also have like a hunger. What's the one that your kiwi strawberry one?
Ultra sweet. Yeah. And it has no sodium. It's my favorite.
Yep. So it's really cool. I mean, to me, it's like, I want to give everything a try that I possibly can. And I will say like that soul one, I felt like I was on drugs in the best way possible.
You felt it in your soul.
I felt it in my soul. Who knew I had one?
It was.
It was funny too, because Tim takes the whole package and puts it into like one regular like bottle of water.
Full throttle. Call it full throttle.
Full throttle. That's the terminology. Yeah. So it kicks you in the ass, either direction. But definitely make sure you check out Hydrate with the Hittens, and you can join us on the Broadway Fan Club every Monday. Thank you for joining us for Friday Night Live. This is our first exciting Friday Night Live. We'd love it. Enjoy watching the Olympics this weekend. Enjoy watching whatever shows you want. And don't forget, on Monday, we will be right back here. Same bat time, same bat channel, 8 p.m. Eastern, Monday evening. We have another question. I had a question. Yes, Melly, I will answer your accessible ticket question as soon as we are off the air. But you know what? I'm going to do it now because why not? I had a question about that I have about accessible tickets for our show in September, because I busted my knee up at work a few months ago. So most likely can't for most of my trip. You do not need any documentation or papers or anything. You talk to the theater, call them ahead of time. They will get you taken care of. No. If anybody asks you for documentations, show them your middle finger. No, don't do that. Don't do that. No, you don't have to give them any kind of information. Thank you for asking. We're always happy to help answer. But thank you so much for our special guest, the one and only Kara Hinton. Hey, I'm so glad. We both have been like, all right, are we going to do this? Is this going to happen? Are we going to be able to? Okay, I have no power. Okay, well, I'm dealing with like thousands of dollars. Okay, I'm doing with it. Great. So we're so glad that this was able to work for everybody. We're so glad that everyone hung out with us for a little bit longer than a normal hour show. Make sure you check out the Hintons on hydratewiththehintons.com. And again, you can join us on the BroadwayFanClub.com to find all of your favorite shows. Contact me, contact Amber, take care of some of our merch, and find out some more information about Kara and her story and how you can get involved with Hydrate with the Hintons. Thank you, everybody. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. And don't forget, when theaters are dark, we keep the ghost light burning. Have a wonderful evening. Ciao for now.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.